Welcome to The Art of Being Seen. In an increasingly distracted world, we all know what this means. We are bombarded from every direction with information. It comes to us through television, through Facebook, through Instagram, through absolutely every different type of media you can possibly think of, through podcasts, through blog posts. And if you want to be seen, you've got to do something different. My name is Heather Bayer. I am the CEO of Cottage Link Rental Management. We are a property management company in Ontario, Canada, and we manage around about 180 properties. I say around about because that figure goes up and down, really depending on the time of year and whether people are selling properties, buying properties, etc. But usually we're around about 180 to 190 properties, which is where we actually cap it at that. We don't want to go much bigger. I am the co-founder with my son Mike of the Vacation Rental Formula, which is an educational membership site where we deliver all sorts of information, very much like this, training courses, short videos, and each week we have what we call office hours, where you can come along and ask your questions, and every single one of those is recorded and put into the Vacation Rental Formula archive, so you can go back and watch those. I'm also the host of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. If you are not listening to the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, I encourage you to subscribe now. There's over 310 episodes, and I interview just about everybody in the industry, from people who are out there creating products to the property managers who are delivering amazing service to their owners and their guests, and individual owners. So there's just a ton of different material there. So go take a look. There's a lot of interesting stuff. This is my granddaughter, Aria. Gosh, she is so cute. So I was going to say she was so cute. She still is. This is 2013 photo. She's now 7 years old and is growing up super, super fast. But in 2012, and she was just 5 months old, we decided that we wanted to go away on vacation and go away with my son Mike and his wife Andrea and go somewhere nice and warm and sunny. And I had this real vision of a beach somewhere. And I had this vision of Aria in water just like this. And it was sort of all-consuming. This picture I had in my head, I knew exactly what I wanted. In terms of location, we just had to go find it. And we figured that we didn't want a long flight, so we decided on the Bahamas from Toronto to Nassau. It's only 3 hours, and then a short airplane ride after that to one of the out islands. We'd never been before. So I started searching around on Google, and I think I started with beaches of the Bahamas, and it just delivered far too much general stuff. And then I went on to the different islands and eventually got to beaches of Eleuthera, because I love the idea of Eleuthera. It's a very long island, very narrow. You can drive end to end and sort of have views of the Atlantic on one side and the Caribbean on the other, which was really cool. So I was Googling beaches of Eleuthera. Now, the site that came up back then in 2012 is not the same as this one. I mean, it's the same site in terms of the URL, but the look is different. They have changed it a lot since I first looked for beaches in Eleuthera. But this is the URL I came up with, and this same picture was one that really struck me. It came up, it was just like, that is it, I want that beach, this is where I want to go with Mike and Andrea and Aria, and have my dream of Aria on that beach. So I hadn't thought about that time where we're going to stay. I just needed, why would I find somewhere to stay before we'd actually found somewhere to go and decided on the location? And this is something that Alan Egan from Vacation Soup says. You know, people don't go on vacation rental, they go on vacation. So you've got to deliver the information on that location first and foremost. That is the only way you're going to fight the OTAs, if you're the online travel agents, if you're looking for direct booking customers. Because if you are just posting a site that is just about vacation rentals, you're going to be beaten out by Airbnb, by HomeAway, by even TripAdvisor, and you're going to be so low down the rankings in SEO, you're just not going to be found. But you could be found by somebody who is looking for something specific in your location. So when I found this Discover Eleuthera Bahamas, which was very much a location-based site, I didn't really have the accommodation in mind, but of course, having spent an hour or more on this particular site, which had a picture of every single beach in Eleuthera, and we decided that's where we were going to go. So I stayed on the site to look for accommodation, which they had. And at that time, it was a smattering of properties, just a couple of properties, and we didn't actually stay in any of them. However, what I have done in the six or 7 years since we visited there, or since I used this site, I have talked about it hundreds and hundreds of times. I have become one of their guest ambassadors, even though I've never been a guest. And you know, this is what we ended up with. I ended up on that beach, on that beautiful beach with gorgeous little Aria, and we had the most amazing time. And if it hadn't been for that website, I probably wouldn't have found that particular beach and been able to satisfy the dream I had. So today, we're going to talk about how to find the questions guests are asking, like my question, where is the best beach in Eleuthera? What are the beaches like in Eleuthera? So we're going to talk about how you find those questions that your guests are asking. We're going to create an editorial plan around the topics with 4 methods of content creation that anybody can do. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up with just talking about a little bit of equipment for on-location audio and video. Don't let that scare you. Audio and video are 2 methods of content creation that you can use, and you can do it on the go. For anybody who's just done a Facebook Live video, you'll know exactly what I mean. You've seen these people, haven't you? They are all over the place. You've got to go into any park and you'll see them. And I know that these guys are probably just texting each other. You know, I don't think people talk to each other anymore. They just sit there and text. But you never know. They could be on their phones asking questions about their next vacation location. They could be Googling, where can I go ice fishing in Ontario? What's the best place to see dolphins on the Gulf Coast? Maybe they've got pets and want to know if they can take their dog on any of the beaches in the Panhandle. Maybe they're thinking about going to Canada's mountain region, the Rockies, and wanting to know what summer activities there are in Whistler. And the last one is a question that I would have asked, is where do locals hike in Sedona? So giving the answers to all this, or in fact finding out the questions, is content. It's all about content marketing. Now, there's a great book called They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan, and he started his career as a tub and pool installer. And while he was installing swimming pools and selling swimming pools, he came across a huge amount of questions from people who are looking to buy and install a pool in their backyard. And out of this, Marcus created the most amazing website that covered absolutely every question imaginable and gave an answer to all those questions that people were asking about pools and spas. So what he says content marketing is it's earning trust, earning people's trust through teaching. So he found that in populating his website with masses of information on the product he was selling, he was gaining his customers' trust before they ever got to the point of buying. And this is really important for us because we hear the questions a lot from potential guests who are saying, well, why I don't really want to book direct because it's not secure enough and I don't feel it's safe. But if you use content marketing well enough, you're going to earn that trust through helping out your potential guests. So content marketing is also about using great information to help others solve problems. If you can get to hear what problems or what questions your guests have, you can supply that information. You can use that content in a variety of ways. And it's all about listening to consumers' questions and providing the answers. And I do encourage you to go get that book, They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan, because it's very, very motivating and inspiring, and it will give you a ton of useful information. So what is content anyway for a vacation rental website? And I see far too many websites for vacation rentals which are simply that, just a website for a vacation rental. There's no other information, which I think is pretty pointless, actually having a website at all if you're not providing information. I mean, why would anybody go to it anyway? So the content that you need to have on your website are pages of information that relieve guests' pain points. These are the things that might stop them booking in the first place. And you've got to find out what those pain points are. So content for a vacation rental website is also a one-stop shop for the travel details your guests are looking for. And those travel details could be anything from, can I drink the water, to, do I need a visa? Any information that they might be looking for to help them make their travel decision. If you can provide them with a one-stop shop for that, once they're on your site, they're going to stay there. So you're delivering the answers to the questions your travelers are asking. And it's also something to keep them distracted from going somewhere else, from bouncing out and going to another website. And just to reiterate, no one's going to find your website unless you give them good reason to go there. You're not going to rank anywhere for a beach house in Carabel. You will not rank for that unless you have got some specific information on that site where that a guest is asking a question about. And we'll go into that in a bit more depth as we move on. But if you've simply got a website which is just advertising your property and then linking them back to Airbnb or HomeAway, you've wasted your time, completely wasted your time. So you've probably heard people like myself and others who talk in the book direct field saying you must have a website. But just remember, you need more than just a website. It's got to give them the information that they're looking for. So you need to provide the answers to their top travel questions. For example, what do I do? What can I do? What activities can I do in your part of the world? You know, if I was going to Eleuthera, beaches, but what else can I do in Eleuthera? And in fact, that site, the Beaches of Eleuthera site, had answers to those questions as well and was ranking for keywords that was in those questions. Where is another question another one of the top travel questions is our where questions. Where can I find? Where can I do? Where can I go? Where can I take my dog? On a beach, for example. The how questions, a lot of those in travel. How do I book a whale watching trip in Maui? How do I plan a wedding in a particular location? And then finally, can I? The can I questions. Can I take my dog? Can I bring my dog? Can I bring my children to specific events? So just have a think about the last time you went on vacation and the sort of questions that you were asking. So when you're sourcing content topics, we're going to suggest that you go to places like TripAdvisor forums, Facebook groups, Google Google suggestions, and your own inquiries. Look back on what people have inquired about before, and you'll find that there is so much content source in those. So here's an example of a travel forum on TripAdvisor. And I love these travel forums. There's travel forums for most of the main destinations. And you can just Google travel forum and your location. Make sure it's a wider location. And it will give you a list of all the most recent questions. It'll give you a list of all the topics that have been asked about in the community. As you see here, over 190,000. But the most useful part is the top questions, and you can see that list on the right-hand side there. So these are the top questions that people are asking about Hawaii on this forum. And this is such a good source of content. I mean, look at this one. I mean, I'm going straight down. It says gluten-free Hawaii in each island. You know, it's a top question. People are asking lots and lots of questions about anything gluten-free. So you could write articles, create blog posts on the best gluten-free restaurants. The next one down, staying safe in Hawaii. That's a top question. People are concerned about their safety. So consider a page on your website, if you've got a Hawaii website, about safety concerns. Hawaii museums. Hawaii down memory lane. Island hopping. Going back up to the top. What will the weather be like? You know, that's a great page for your website. To talk about the weather that people are likely to experience in each month. And there's one, tread lightly on the land. This is, I understand why this is a top question. Environmental issues come up in all of these forums. So if you can, write a piece about protecting turtles or other conservation type of sites or things that people could actually do to get involved in conservation while they are at your location. So yeah, definitely go there, see if you can find a travel forum for your location. So here's some questions that were asked last summer about to our cottage link rental management, in our inbox. So we get a lot of these. What fish are in the lake? People are very interested in what fish they are likely to catch. Where can we rent a boat? Where can I see a bear? What can we do in winter? And when are the fall colours at their best? Each one of these is a nice general blog post or piece of information that we can share with guests. So I'm just going to concentrate on this top one, which is what fish are in the lake, because this is how we created some content for our site. So we took what fish are in the lake and we put that into Google. In fact, we said what fish are in Ontario lakes. Now, most of the top sourced results were Ministry of Resources type of sites. It's the sites that are paying for their spot. They know they're going to get those top spots. So we aren't likely to rank too highly with such a general term as fish in lakes of Ontario. So to actually drill down and find out a little bit more about what questions are actually being asked and some more long-tailed questions, if you go right to the bottom of any search page on Google, you'll come to this spot that says searches related to what you've been asking about. So we did a search on Ontario fishing tips, which came up with a lot of generalized information. And then we drilled down a bit more. It came to we looked at these searches related to Ontario fishing tips. And this is what it came up with. People are looking for these things. Bass fishing Ontario. Bass fishing tips. So we actually picked up on spring fishing Ontario and then put that into Google. And that's what came up here. Spring walleye fishing, June walleye fishing, spring walleye fishing tips. So it looked like people were asking more about walleye fishing. So we could do a blog post on walleye fishing, in fact on spring walleye fishing. And that would likely rank really, really highly for anybody that is looking for spring walleye fishing. And apparently a lot of people do. And then we create the content. Okay, so that's how, that's generally how you can find your sources of content, because that is often what stumps people. They think, what am I going to write about? I haven't got a clue what to write about. Well, if you just start with this Google example, I think you're going to find something pretty easily to write about. And so just look for something like this. We started out with Ontario fishing tips. We ended up with spring walleye fishing in Ontario. So when you've got your content, what are you actually going to do with it? Well, there's a number of different ways of taking content and making it go in lots of different places. So for example, you could have pages or guides actually on your website. So that is static page on your website, or actually create a guide. Create a guide that's downloadable. You could do some audio. You could actually do an interview. Let's say I'm talking about spring walleye fishing in Ontario. So I could do an interview with a fishing guide. Or we could do a video interview, or simply find a video on YouTube that's already there. I mean, come on guys, this is not difficult. There is a lot of stuff on YouTube already out there that you can use and embed on your site. And then of course there is traditional blog posts. If you haven't yet come across smokymountains.com, then it's a good idea to go and have a look at this site. There are hiking guides where they go to different spots and actually set out the entire hiking route from end to end. So as you can see here, they have photos of the different areas, the starting points, the trailheads, and then a description of the trail itself. Hiking guide, if you're in an area with hiking guides, then with hiking trails, then this is definitely something to do. And if you see there, on that page, it says, okay, you ready to stay? Are you ready to stay? Click here. And There again, nearby places to stay. So this is how SmokyMountains.com has created the most amazing demonstration of how to do content. If you simply go to SmokyMountains.com, I could probably stop talking right now, because you're going to find the best method to do it right on that site. But that's what they have done. They've provided the information that people are asking for. Another one, Cabins USA, done something very, very similar. So they have their Smoky Mountains travel blog. So we have top Smoky Mountain fall activities, Smoky Mountain hikes with views, avoid the crowds in Cades Cove. These are the things that people are asking. These are the long-tailed keywords that people are using when they go to Google. How to avoid crowds in Cades Cove. So because they have written a blog post with that specific title, that's probably going to rank pretty much up near number 1 if somebody's looking to avoid the crowds in Cades Cove. So that's definitely another one to go look at, check out. I've mentioned Pike Point, explore the Adirondacks in a number of my videos and blogs, because this is a beautiful site. It has, at last look, probably 40 different videos. Once again, answering all the questions about what people are looking for in the Adirondacks. They have a beautiful video on the site called Why We Love the Adirondack Park. And they didn't do the video. The video, as you can see there, the video is by Pure Adirondacks, which is another site. But it is on theirs because it's free to share. And once people are on this site looking at something like this video, then they go on to look at other parts of the website, because you've hooked them. You've hooked them with the information that you're providing, that great content. And video works, folks. You know, almost 1 billion hours of videos are watched each day, 30 million viewers every day, and the average mobile viewing session lasts 40 minutes. It's a bit of a no-brainer. In fact, I say it's a bit of a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. You need to be doing video, and it's an once you get into it, once you get over yourself and being on video, then it's a very quick and easy way of creating content, because it does not have to be perfect. So let's move on to audio. The Hawaiian Vacation Connection podcast has been going for a number of years. It's the duration of each little audio section is something between 15 and 25 minutes, and they answer a ton of questions that people are asking about Hawaii. Which part of Oahu should you stay on? Audio on don't make these mistakes on your Hawaii vacation. That's quite it's a title that's going to encourage people to come on in and take a look. That's a really cute picture of a dog, and I'm not sure why this picture's there, but I'm just going to leave it sitting there while I try and remember why I put that photo in. But it's probably about, taking your pet canoeing. So that was a little aside. I think Mike might have put that in just to surprise me. So let's go back on to what you can do. The pages of guides, audio, video, and blog posts. So now I know what that picture was for. So if you've got somebody interested in going out on the water at your property, can I canoe? Can I kayak? Can I bring my dog kayaking? Here's a few different ways of how you can create the content for this. So you could have a page on your website or a guide, a water activity guide, that lists everything you could do on the water. You could create an audio interview with a marine safety advisor. Just do a short 10-15 minute audio talking about safety on the water. Do a video of getting in and out of a kayak. I have these on my website because I found them on YouTube, and it was easy enough to just embed that video, YouTube video code into our website. So for anybody who wants to know about how to get in and out of a kayak, they might just find you on Google and get to your site where that YouTube video is. And I have to say, I watch that video a lot, and unfortunately, I'm still not doing it too gracefully. And then write a blog post on 5 items you must have on your kayak trip. So with those 4 different types of content, you could very well capture many of the people who are asking about water activity in your location. So how do you get this out to people? You know, you've written this content, you've written your pages, guides, you've got some audio, you've got some video, you've got a blog post. How do you get it out there? Well, this is where social media marketing comes in, because now you're going to make your social media post on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and maybe create and post your own YouTube video. But now you've got the content that's going to bring people back to your site. So your pages and guides, let's say you've got a guide to the water activity and you post that on Facebook. You post it on Twitter, you post it on Instagram, and the same with your audio and your video and your blog posts. So you're not being repetitive because you're sending them to different types of information, but all coming back to your website from your social media posts. Do you see how easy that is? I hope so, because once I actually got this and it became almost a no-brainer, you know, rather than going on to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram saying, here's my vacation location, here's my house. If I could go on to Twitter, say, here's a great guide to water activities in Ontario or on our Ontario lakes, and somebody goes to look at that, they land on my website, and then I can take them to the accommodation. So consider, let's say you have a property on Maui. What do people like to do on Maui? They like to get married. So instead of just posting a photo of your condo or of your property, your bungalow in Maui, you're going to post information on how to get married. So you're going to have a page or a guide to getting married in Maui. You know, if that's where your property is, you should know this stuff. You should know, have loads of information, local information on how a couple can come and get married there. Then you could have an audio interview with a wedding planner. Talk to them about what people should know. What should people know if they're going to get married in Maui? How to find a photographer, how to find a florist. Why a wedding planner would be a great person to get involved. Have a video that shows some different wedding venues. Now, a lot of these venues have their own videos. Once again, you don't have to do it yourself. You can just embed the YouTube code into your website when you're talking about your getting married space. And then your blog post is top 10 tips for planning a wedding in Maui. And if you actually went back to the Hawaii Travel Forum on TripAdvisor, they talk about this. One of the top questions is, I want to get married in Hawaii. How can I do this? So there you are. This is the same thing to do with every piece of information, with every piece of content you've got. Have a look with the more generalized content, how can I create a page or a guide? Who could I interview? Where could I find a video? And what blog post could I write? And then you can start making your plans. So these are the distribution strategies. So the traffic from your social media posts is driven to different media types on a web page. And then on that page, you have your additional media content displayed. So if you're going to a guide on that page, it will tell visitors, site visitors, that they can go and listen to this audio, this interview with a wedding planner. They can go to the blog post, which gives them the 10 best tips. So if you look at many really, really good websites, or blog posts, you'll often see that there's links to other related content. And this drives traffic deeper into your site. And then make sure that each page presents your accommodation options. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It took me a while to really get this into my head that it wasn't that difficult. Create the content, get the distribution right, and make sure there's loads of options for people to go to related content on your website. And that's the key. Do not drive them out of your website and send them to a tourism board. Just don't send them out to another website. You don't need to do that. You can create your own content. Okay, so here's the fun part. If you want to do audio and video, you've got to get yourself equipped. And no, you do not need a setup like that. I mean, you look at the if you remember Obama doing the podcast in the garage and oh God, I can't remember the podcaster's name, but anyhow, he had his setup in his garage, and Obama came and stopped by, and that's what the setup looked like. In fact, this looks a lot like my setup back in my office, except I have to say mine's a lot neater than that. But for audio, you need a good microphone, and you need something to record your material. This is what I use now. I have what's called a Rodecaster Pro, which is what I think is the simplest podcasting interface ever. I call it podcasting for the aged because it's got the big buttons and with big writing, and I can see them easily. But I use this for my Skype calls, come into it, phone calls from somebody on an iPhone. I can have 4 people sitting around my table, all with a microphone. And then, as talking microphones, you've got to have a really good one for yourself, and then separate if you're going to have other people come in to your location and talk to you, then you have to have microphones for them. Headset, a shock mount, that's that thing that looks like a star. And you have to have a card, an SD card, micro SD card, in fact, for the Rodecaster Pro. And then essential types of cabling. Now, if you want to get into that audio and podcasting, you can get in touch with me and we can talk through the types of things that you need. But it's simple, and all this comes in at well under $1,000. And it will keep you going for a long, long time and be worth its weight in gold, I promise you. So for an audio production, you want a microphone. I suggest an Audio-Technica ATR 2100. It's a simple one. It's not that expensive. The Rode Podcaster set is around $400. $420, I think I paid. A good set of podcast headphones, and then editing software, which I use Audacity, which is completely free. There's a few other things, and I do have a list of podcasting equipment and a short guide to setting up a podcast for our Vacation Rental Formula Club members. Then we have mobile video production. And really all you need is an iPhone, a lavalier microphone, because the microphone on your iPhone is not going to pick up, it's going to pick up far too much, in fact. So just go to Google lavalier microphones and you'll find them. If you're going to stand and talk into your camera, probably best to have a tripod. And then, of course, SD cards to convert material. Yeah, I'm just thinking whether you actually need SD cards at all with an iPhone. I was thinking more if you had a camera, then you would need SD cards. So with an iPhone, you probably don't. So once you've got your video, you have to host it somewhere. I mean, YouTube is the most common place that people will host, but you can also host on Vimeo or Wistia. And for your audio or podcasting, then I strongly recommend Libsyn, which is what I use, and I think $15 a month is what I pay to, and I do a hour-long podcast every week, so the storage there is pretty good for the price. So there you are. That is everything you need to do to set yourself apart and get seen in this increasingly distracted world. You've got to work on it. So for your next steps, kick off with brainstorming the topics. Brainstorm your topics. Break down each topic into 4 media types. So you'd have your page or your guide, some audio, some video, and a blog post. Then you set yourself up for some audio, set yourself up for video, build an evergreen content library. Now, evergreen means, the stuff it's not going to go out of date. And then create an editorial plan. And that means, once you've got your content all in place, then decide how you're going to post that and promote it out onto your social media platforms. So you need an editorial plan to make sure that you're being consistent about posting, to make sure that something goes onto Twitter every single day. It goes onto Instagram every day and onto Facebook. But you really are distributing what you do in different places. So this is outside the remit of this recording, but I will probably do another one on the editorial plan and the different types of resource that there are out there to help you, because you can use things like Hootsuite, Buffer. There's plenty of resources where you can upload all your content and all your social media posts way in advance and have that really automated so that it just goes out every day. You don't have to touch it. You just get yourself involved in more and more content. So some advanced steps here to develop a YouTube channel. So actually create a channel on YouTube where you put all your own video content. Create your own podcast. Publish it to iTunes. If you want to know more about creating a podcast, you could go to smartpassiveincome.com. Their Power Up podcasting course is extremely good. And Entrepreneur on Fire has an excellent free course on how to podcast. So that's at eofire.com. So that's it. Thank you, folks, for joining me on this. I get very excited about this. I love content creation, content production. It is super exciting once you start seeing that it's working. If you use Google Analytics, you will be able to see people coming to your site, coming to different types of content that you have on your site in different modes of media, and you'll be able to see what's most popular. Is your video being looked at more? Is your audio being listened to? Are people reading your blog posts, or are they going straight to your guides, downloading guides, or going to your pages on your website? So I hope you've got enough to take away from this and to actually get going. As ever, you can contact me directly at heather@cottageblogger.com, or heather@vacationrentalformula.com. Either one will get to me. And if you've got specific questions, you can ask them. You can come along to our weekly office hours, which we do on Zoom, and that's entirely free, open to everybody. And if you would like to do that and join us, then just let me know. We'll make sure we put you on the list so that you get the information on and the joining instructions to come along to office hours. The more the merrier. It's an hour. It's on a Wednesday, and we talk about anything and everything and to do with the short-term rental. And our team, that's myself, Mike Bayer and Jason Beaton, who talk in depth about digital marketing. Usually 3 of us are there. Sometimes it's just 2, but you will always have your questions answered and have a really good time. So I hope to see you then. I hope you've enjoyed this. And for now, thank you very much for joining me.